Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 96 of Screw the Commute podcast. We've got a lady here that I've known for a long time. Awesome lady. Her name is Rhoberta Shaler. And do you need your relationship fixed? Well, she's the bomb. And even the United States Marines have sought her help to fix their relationship. So we'll get to her in a few minutes. Now, the last episode was 95, Orrin Checkmate Hudson. This guy is a chess champion and he former state policeman and also gang member. Put those two together. And he teaches kids the game of life through the game of chess. And so very interesting story for him. Check that out some other time. That was the last episode, 95. Now, our podcast app is in the iTunes store, or you can just simply go to screwthecommute.com/app, A-P-P, and it'll show you how to use it and how to download it and all the cool things that it'll do if you had it on your phone or your tablet. You can take us with you. Now, we are starting a youth program. We're going to feature once a month a youth. And when I say youth, that's up to early 20s. If you know a young person much older than that, they might be a candidate for our regular podcast. But we're really looking to highlight entrepreneurial youth and feature them on an episode. And if you know anybody, you can have them email me at orders, O-R-D-E-R-S, orders at antion.com. And I'll tell them what they have to do to apply to get featured. All right. Our today's sponsor is the Distance Learning School, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. Don't even think about retraining yourself or sending your kids to college until you check out our webinar on higher education. And be prepared to be mad. These colleges are doing some really low life type things to you and your young people, putting them under crushing debt and giving them a crap education and charging out the wazoo. So watch that webinar at screwthecommute.com/webinars, or you can just click on free webinars and the navigation bar. All right, let's get to the main event. Rhoberta Shaler is a PhD, and she's called the Relationship Help Doctor. She's a relationship consultant, mediator, and speaker who provides urgent and ongoing care for relationships in crisis. And she does it around the world. Rhoberta empowers people to recognize emotional abuse and stop tolerating it and reclaim their lives. She's the author of 16 books. Wow. And hosts 2 podcasts and a popular YouTube channel that has over 200,000 views. And guess what? She does it all from home. She screws the commute and works from home. Rhoberta, are you ready to screw the commute again?
I'm always ready for that, Tom.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've caught up. So tell everybody what you've been doing.
Well, one of the big things that I did was give up 1,200 square feet of office a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, and happily gave myself a huge raise by doing that.
I'll bet, yeah.
Yeah, so mainly what I'm really involved in is my podcast, my membership, my YouTube channel, and my private clients, and then around and around that goes.
Now, how did you work for the Marines? How did that work? Is it for their, with their home life being so strained by being away in Afghanistan, all that stuff, or what?
No, actually, it was teaching them to play nicely together at work.
Oh, don't shoot each other, I guess.
No, well, there are so many different things in the Marines. You have enlisted people and retired people and people who have never been in the Marines, and then excluded managers and all kinds of things. So helping them to learn how to talk to one another and to be respectful and to get things done. That's what I was helping them with mostly.
Was that a hard thing with all these badass, Marines button heads? Was that a extra hard job?
Well, I think that in any military force, people are taught to be forceful And so they learn to communicate in those ways. And so when they get a little bit of power, sometimes it doesn't go well.
So in other words, yes, it was a little harder than an average job, I guess.
A little harder.
So take us back. How did you get your start, and did you ever have a job, and how did that go?
Oh, yes, I did, Tom. I had a job. I had jobs when I was young, but eventually I found myself on my own with 3 children, and I needed to have a job that had the same hours that did. So I worked in the school system for 28 years while I was developing my own practice and all of my entrepreneurial ventures on the side. And then when my youngest had been on his own for 2 years, I had promised myself that, okay, that's the end of that. So right in the middle of the school year, I said, bye-bye. And
oh, man.
I was done. And then I moved to the United States from Canada and started my entrepreneurial career as a speaker, which is when you and I met. You know, I was doing
remind
a lot
me about that, because I hardly ever think backwards, and I'm trying to think how I met you.
Oh, we met at the Seattle National Speakers Association, and I sponsored your very first bus camp.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, people think I'm lying all the time because I never think backwards. And it's like, that was like, for an internet guy, that was 2,000 years ago. So I can't remember.
And it was 1998 and 99.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm so far over the hill, Rhoberta, I can't remember going up the hill. Well, we must have hit it off because I've always thought highly of you, and we've crossed paths a little bit since then. But so you just chucked it in the middle of the school year. I mean, what did the kids think? What did the superintendent say? Where'd Rhoberta go?
Well, I had been training people throughout the province of British Columbia on behalf of the Teachers Federation. I was very well placed politically in terms of being a teacher. And so when I said I'm out of here, I had friends who helped me to buy back pension, do kinds of things that one would do. And I was under a lot of stress, so they knew that already. So they just helped me mitigate circumstances in my favor.
Well, explain that term, buyback pension. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was going to be leaving before the mandated amount of time. I had a couple of years where I had time off, and I needed to buy back that pension so that it would accrue and count for my pension.
I see.
Because I wasn't going to stay in the school system until I retired. So I had to do a few things to take care of myself, but I did that, and it all worked well, and then I was gone.
Was that kind of almost a cult? I mean, 28 years, right? And was that kind of a culture shock to you?
No, it wasn't, because I'd been speaking on weekends, doing trade shows on weekends. I'd written books.
So you weren't just going sitting home. Yeah.
Oh, no. In fact, at the time, I owned a retreat center, so I was teaching every evening and every weekend at the retreat center as well as running it, plus a full-time job.
Wow, yeah. So you were very busy. So I guess it was a relief to not head in there every day.
It was, but I ditched the whole thing. I sold the retreat center too, like brand new. I'm out of here. I gave it at the office. You know, I'm going to have a new life.
So by buying back this pension thing, so you were you had money coming in then, right? When you quit then from this?
No, I didn't.
No, nothing.
Nothing. Wow. Zero.
So that's pretty risky. You didn't seem like a gigantic risk taker to me, but that seems pretty risky.
Well, it was what I'd promised myself, and I already knew that I could earn a living speaking.
Okay.
Because I've been doing it on weekends. So I didn't really see it as a huge risk. I saw it as a very welcome change and a promise kept to myself that I did not have to do it anymore. To get up in the morning and go somewhere I really didn't want to go, even though I was good at it. I was principal of a school, for heaven's sakes.
Wow. Wow. like the kids are sitting there waiting for the announcements. Hey, where's the announcements today? I don't know. She left, I think.
That's right. Bye-bye.
See you later. So, so are you a Canadian citizen?
I have dual
You have dual
citizenship now.
citizenship, right? Because
Hmm.
I was just talking to another Canadian, and they said, "Wow, back in the old days it was easy, but now it's a big hassle for them to get their visa renewed and every year. So I guess it's tougher now."
Well, I came to the United States in 1998, and I became a citizen in 2008.
Yeah, being a citizen, but she's not a citizen. This other lady, and she's just been getting 10-year visas, I guess they call them. And
Oh,
she
yeah.
said,
No,
"Way, it's tougher now."
yes, well, I did the whole thing. I'm a good girl.
Good,
I did it all.
good for you. So, what advice would you give somebody? Now, you've been in business for quite a while. What are some of the tips you would give, big overriding tips to people that say, you know what, I'd like to chuck my job and get out there and be working for myself? What are the things you've learned by being in business?
Well, first of all, I would do what I did. I would have a crossover time, learn what kind of entrepreneurial thing you're going to do, get good at it, do the studying, try it out so that you knew exactly what you were going to do when you left. I think that's the best case scenario. Secondly, have a cushion of funds in order to do it
Yeah, yeah.
because, certainly there's, when people are forced into those situations, they may not have a cushion, but you have the opportunity to do that if you're choosing it. So by all means, take the tension out of it. Be as prepared as you can. Ramp up to it. And then have enough funds to allow yourself to play with it for a year. Because if you don't know what you're going to and you don't have a narrow niche, you're going to have trouble ramping up quickly.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So, what do you like best about working for yourself, and what's the worst part?
The best part is that the boss never gets too angry at me. The worst part is that when the day comes to pay the bills, there's nobody to turn to.
Yeah,
It's
that's for
all
sure.
me, But everything in between, it's all quite doable and it's all very exciting. I mean, what I do, Tom, I've been doing this basically for 35 years
Mm-hmm.
on the side, and then the last 20 doing it on my own as an entrepreneur. Every day, it's still what gets me up in the morning, floats my boat, and flips my skirt. And that's what you can do when you're an entrepreneur. You can choose that narrow, deep niche that allows you to do exactly what you want to do every day. And of course, there's going to be 20% of the things you don't want to do, but you have to do them anyway.
I never heard, Roberta, that term, flip your skirt. I never heard that one. I think that would get me in trouble. If
Yeah,
I
I
said,
think
"Hey,
it
can I
would. I
flip
would.
your skirt?"
Yeah, no, Tom, don't even try. No.
Oh, wow. So the bad part, like, we hear this a lot, is that the money part, that you got to keep going, you got to keep going. Now, a lot of things we do online, we create residual income. So
Right.
that's something that we help people concentrate on, so that if they get sick or get tired or just feel like not working this week, the bills keep coming. So the money needs to keep coming too. Tell us about all these books you've written. Are they all on roughly the same relationship topics or various topics, or what?
Well, they're all on relationship topics, either the relationship with yourself or with other humans. But the last the last four are about dealing with difficult people. A couple on dealing with passive aggression. But then, Tom, we're seeing a very, very growing and troublesome trend. We're seeing, and the research supports that we're seeing more and more people who are behaving badly in terms of having tendencies, patterns, traits, cycles of people with personality disorders.
Mm-hmm.
So they may not have diagnosable personality disorders. As you said, my PhD is in psychology, so I know a lot about that. They may not be diagnosable, but they have these patterns, traits, and cycles. So what I did was I saw the need to create a non-clinical term. So I trademarked a term that describes all of that, and the term is hijackers. because these are people who hijack relationships for their own purposes, and then they proceed to relentlessly scavenge them for power, for status, and for control. So I have this hijackal term, which is becoming more and more popular. I now get things from people who say, "Well, I was hijackled the other day." Oh, never thought of using it that way, you know.
Well, that's like
But
Google turned into a verb. Google this.
yeah, exactly. So, helping people understand that, and that's why I was talking about a very narrow, deep niche. So everything that I do is focused on that. So the last books are about that: escaping the hijackal trap, the hijackal trap, stop that's crazy making, how to quit playing the passive aggressive game. So many things. Kaizen for couples. That's the book in which I put everything that I basically help couples have as their underlying strategies and ways to improve their relationships. So most of the books are dealing with how to play nicely together. The last ones on these difficult people, the hijackals that I mentioned, are on really what you have to think about as to, am I in that relationship, which is why my mission is to help people recognize and stop tolerating emotional abuse. That you're in it, that how you got into it, and then the next piece is, what do I want to do with it? And that answer is different for everybody because of the stage that you're at, the age of your children, the severity of the situation. So I provide a lot of things, Tom. You were talking about passive income. Well, I have courses. I have a membership site. I have the YouTube channel that's monetized. Many ways that people can get the basic information before they come to work with me one-on-one, so they can optimize their time. But all of these are passive income streams leading to working with me directly.
Now, where do they find these?
Well, my website is for relationship help, HELP.com. So
And we'll have that
everything
in
is
the
on
show
there.
notes, for relationshiphelp.com. And
Right.
so a wide variety of people could find something for them in there, because you talked about Marines and workplace stuff. I imagine there's relationships
Sure.
going on there, so it covers a wide range. So
Yes, and
go ahead.
the podcasts are there too. Currently I have two. One is called Emotional Savvy, the Relationship Help Show. That's mostly interviews. And then I have another one called Save Your Sanity, Help for Handling Hijackals. And that's also carried on the Mental Health News Radio Network. So there's great help there at no cost that people can access. And when you go to forrelationshiphelp.com, you'll see where it says, podcasts, and you can go directly there, and there's lots of shows to listen to right on the website. And then the YouTube channel has the same name, For Relationship Help. So easy to find.
Yeah, that's really great. And something that you said that I kind of resonate with is, I don't know if you knew about my consumer advocate work and my anti-scam work. I have a show in development in Hollywood called Scam Brigade. And people can look at the trailer at scambrigade.com. But a lot of the bad people, the scammers, the fraudulent people, especially in the speaking industry, they're non-diagnosable, is the term you just used, because they don't want to be diagnosed.
Exactly.
But I had people with similar credentials to you that have said, oh, yeah, I mean, I can't claim that they're this, but they got narcissistic personality disorder, sociopath, and, they're chameleons. They're professional level con people. And so
that's true.
Yeah. I wrote an article on the top 20 seminar scams, how you can get robbed at a seminar. And that's one of the reasons I don't speak so much anymore, because I want to take a shower. Everybody's on stage lying bigger than the next person.
I absolutely agree. And, you and I went through a time together when everything that we were learning to do in the internet world, I came away so many times saying that exactly thing. I need to take a shower.
Mm-hmm.
Do it this way. No, I won't do it that way. No, I won't do it that
Exactly.
way.
Yeah, and it's still that way times 1,000, since those days when we first started. So that's another reason I started my school, is because it's a totally unregulated industry. And so I said,
Right.
you know what, I'm going to set myself apart. I went through 3 years to get the license, background checks, bonding, surety bonds, all this, the financial checks, everything, because people just say anything they want and they just make it all up. They're broke driving broken down Pintos and telling you how to get rich, and it's just over and over and over.
Well, Tom, just to further that so people really understand, how many people do you know, and of course the rhetorical, who have put something out there like, I can teach you to make $1 million doing such
Mm-hmm.
and such.
Yep.
And when you investigate it, that they were planning to make their $1 million by telling you how to make
Right.
$1 million, because they never made $1 million in their life if they made 100,000.
Right. And it's even more insidious than that. See, I was one of the first people to actually show actual sales figures to people when they come to my retreat center. And nowadays, that's been bastardized in that some people will just Photoshop and pretend and just put this out there as their income. But the more insidious way, Rhoberta, is they say, we made $200,000 in 5 weeks with this product. But what they don't tell you is that they paid affiliate commissions and they spent $250,000 on pay-per-click to lose $50,000 because they only pulled in $200,000. So they really lost money, and they're going to make it up because you're a sucker reading that kind of sales copy. So they actually
Exactly.
did bring in $200,000, but that's not the whole story.
Exactly. And, there's another thing while we're on this, Tom. That's your field now, but I want to say things about the difference that people really need to notice. I have a doctorate in psychology. I paid my dues. I've done the work. To be a coach, you just decide you are one. And
I
I just want...
I laugh about that too, Roberta. I tease about it all the time. Somebody wants to be your life coach and they never did a damn thing in their entire life.
No, they just popped up one day and said, I'll be a life coach.
Exactly.
And there are some wonderful coaches,
Certainly,
and I'm
certainly.
not denigrating coaches, but I just want to say this because it's parallel to what you're saying about the internet marketing world, is please everybody know the distinction between someone who's been through something and they will talk to you about what they went through and learned, and somebody who has all the training and credentials and expertise and experience, and may also have walked through it, who can help you heal. One person will provide you with support on the path. The other person can provide the support on the path and the healing of the past. Please, please note that distinction.
Yes, and it's difficult because people are bombarded with things all day long, and they just don't know who to believe. And it's more and more difficult because everybody on Earth is getting into the game, because it's the cost to get in is almost nothing. You don't even have to have a website anymore. You can just put up a Facebook group and then call yourself a guru, and people don't know any better. So they have to really be careful nowadays.
I hope that they are careful. I have people who've come to me, Tom, and because of my niche, and for my Canadian friends, my niche, but that they have been to people repeatedly. They maybe are in a relationship with a hijacker. They hope that they can go to a professional who will see what they're talking about, see the difficulty they're in. And a person doesn't have the experience because it's a deep, narrow niche. And they don't see it. And what a hijacker will do is that they will manipulate, exploit, and seduce the professional into believing them. And then the partner will be re-wounded because the professional and the hijacker will have joined together against them.
Oh,
and that's not decrying the profession. It's just know that you need someone. If you're in this situation, you need someone who has been through it. I was raised by two hijackers. I married one. I divorced one. I co-parented one.
Wow.
And I have all of the experience. I know what it feels like. I've been there, done that. I have the nasty video and the very ragged t-shirt, as well as knowing how to do it. So think of the thought and understanding I've been able to bring to writing my books and doing my work. And so when someone comes to me, and I have clients all over the world because I work through video conferencing, they know that they're going to get help. They're not going to be taking a shot at, I hope somebody will see what's happening to me. And, there's no blame in this. People can't see it, they can't see it. But don't be damaged by going to someone that you really hope is going to see it, and they're just not equipped to see it.
Yeah, and it's when people are at a vulnerable stage, that's even harder to make those distinctions. So yeah, you got to be real careful. Well, we need to take a quick break for our sponsor message, and then when we come back, we're going to ask Rhoberta what's a typical day look like for her and how she stays motivated. Folks, do you know what colleges and universities are doing? According to gradeinflation.com, they are raising grade point averages to make it look like they're doing a better job of teaching when there's a mountain of evidence that they aren't. I mean, I really want you to watch the eye-opening higher education webinar at screwthcommute.com/webinars to potentially save yourself and possibly your loved ones, friends, and neighbors hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt when you go for higher education. And this isn't just me because I've got my own vocational school. The people in this webinar are highly credentialed educational people that see what's going on and decided to expose it. So be prepared to be mad when you watch this webinar, but it's really worth your 90 minutes to potentially save you mortgaging your house so that your kids can go party. One of the things they uncovered was the average student spends 8 hours a week, 8 hours a week total, preparing for class and going for class. The rest of the time is eating and partying. I don't think I'd want to mortgage my house for that. So check it out at screwthcommute.com/webinars. Yeah, now you're a PhD person, Rhoberta, but boy, I'm really worried about the debt and stuff that's being thrust on these kids, and then they're fighting for jobs at Starbucks.
Absolutely. I'm scared about it too, Tom, because we have to have a high accountability when we ask someone to pay a lot of money in order to be highly trained. It's just not a commodity. It really is an in-depth situation, and you have to investigate. I loved what you just said. I mean, yes, all of these things, whether we're talking about this scam brigade or any of these things, look for integrity and look for results and do your homework.
Exactly. And this darn thing is people have been brainwashed for years and years and years. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. And quite frankly, I mean, I was in college with a guy that he couldn't hardly read and write. He was just a big, strong athlete. I mean, 31 people in my freshman picture, scholarship athletes, only 6 of us graduated. They're just, it was just a big business, make money for the school with being in bowl games and all that stuff. So this guy was a master woodworker. When he finally flunked out, he went home and started a woodworking shop, and it's the most beautiful stuff ever on earth. College isn't for everyone. Yeah, there's certain professions you have to do it, but people really need to take a look nowadays and see, does this make sense for myself or my kids to go there and, like I said, run up all this debt and not really get something valuable out of it. So,
right.
So tell us, what's a typical day look like for you? And I know you speak, so let's say when you're on the road, what's it look like? And then when you're home, what's it look like?
Okay, erase that. I do not speak. I do not go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
I am at home. I gave that up in 2008. I don't need to go anywhere. There's the internet.
Yes, I know that.
I'll teach you anything sitting in my comfortable chair.
I mean, do you do big groups using this method?
Yes, well, I teach negotiation for the University of Texas at Dallas.
Okay, Great.
Sometimes I'll have all my students on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all of that. A typical day for me starts about 7 o'clock because I like to get up
You're
at
in
that
California,
time.
right?
I am.
Okay.
And so I'll have some quiet time. Then I will start by 8. I will do my marketing, my responses, maybe my podcast. I work on my business from 8 till noon. Then I take a 2-hour break to work on my health. And then I see clients.
So you mean exercise or
Yeah,
that kind of
so
thing?
go for a walk,
Mm-hmm.
do whatever I need to do on that particular day, and then clients after that, because clients are in all time zones.
Right,
so,
right.
And I limit my work week to seeing only 15 clients a week. So that works out well energetically for me. And that's pretty much the way the whole week runs. And I take 2 full days off a week.
Good for you. Now, how do people typically pay for this kind of work?
How do they pay me?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, is it PayPal or it's credit card or checks or how they pay?
Yeah. PayPal, credit cards. That's pretty much it. Occasional person wants to send me a check. It's all automated. I use Acuity scheduling. It's all automated. So I don't need a receptionist. I don't need anyone answering my phone. All of the things on my website, of course, are taken care of by the shopping carts. And, there is just no need. I have a couple of people on my team and then a couple of contractors that beyond that, if I need something particular. But it's very simple.
So when you say your team, are they in-house or they work out of their homes?
No, they work out of their homes.
Beautiful.
In different countries.
Yes, yeah. There's nothing stopping that now for sure.
No, well, I like to use Canadians because I am one.
There
right?
you go.
So yes.
How do you stay motivated when you're by yourself? Do you like being by yourself? I kind of like being by myself, but some people
I love it.
don't.
I love it because I have time in my calendar set aside, like when people can make time. If I want to talk to a colleague, I have a link in there that I can talk to them before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I will have face-to-face meetings through Zoom with colleagues or have coffee with somebody or whatever. So there's no lack of social life.
Coffee through Zoom. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. And people all over the world. And I have an active social life of friends here, and I go out a lot. So no, I love it. I love just having that complete control over what's going on and the absolute opportunity to say, yeah, I don't think so today. No, I don't have any problem at all doing it all alone. I quite enjoy it.
I mean, I'm totally with you on that. I'm just still cracking up over having coffee over Zoom like that. Say, well, would you like some sugar? Oh, yeah, I would. Well, go get it.
That's right.
So, this has been great catching up with you. Any thoughts? We call them our screwballs. Any parting thoughts for people wanting to get in business or wanting to improve their business?
I think that people don't spend enough time getting their head clear about what it is their business is and exactly what problems it solves, and aligning that with what floats their boat and flips their skirt,
Flips their skirt's another one.
Because if you really figure that out, rather than coming from where can I make money, where would I like to make my contribution to the world? And how can I make that the narrowest possible way to do it? Then your opportunity to find your market is so much clearer.
Very well said by somebody that's been there and flipped their skirt a lot, I guess, over the years. So anyway, great. Again, great catching up with us. Give me your website again so they can go check out your books and everything. Is everything for sale on your website or clicks them through to Amazon or what?
Yeah, you click through for the books to Amazon,
okay.
But everything else it's all there on the website. And that's for FOR relationship help, HELP.com.
forrelationshiphelp.com. We'll have that in the show notes. So Rhoberta, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I'm glad to catch up with you. I hope to see you one of these days. Maybe we'll have coffee on Zoom. and for everybody else, thanks for listening in. Make sure you download that podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app and check the show notes so you can get a hold of any book or several books of Rhoberta's that maybe could help you out in your relationships. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch you all in the next episode.